In the past video, I had said that there are two types of special right triangles, and this is the second one. So it's 30, 60, 90. That means that the triangle has 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees in the right triangle. The ratio that you're going to be using for this is x square root 3, and 2x. And like I mentioned before, it goes from lowest to smallest to largest. So the smallest side will be across from the 30 degrees. So in my picture, here it is. The medium side is going to be across from the medium angle, which is our 60 degrees, so our x square root 3. The largest or longest side will be across from the largest angle, which is our hypotenuse, so across from the 90 degrees, and that's where the 2x is located. So you do need to know what angles are showing up in your triangle, so you know where the sides are that we need to label. The setup is going to be the same. We're going to first label the sides of the triangle with these three parts of our ratio. Wherever the number ends up, we're going to set it equal to that part of the ratio, and then we can solve for the x. Once we solve for x, our green x, I'm going to use green again, you can put it back into any of the other pieces in that ratio on the sides, wherever the x shows up, and then you can answer the questions. So on number 1, if our hypotenuse is 6 centimeters, and I realize in your picture it says 6 feet, but we can just use centimeters. So I did that in red just so I can make it stand out a little bit more. We need to label the sides. So remember, my x goes with my 30. So that's my side over here is across from the 30. Across from the 60 will be my x square root 3, and across from the 90 will be my 2x. Remember, we need to find the number that we are given and set it equal to that ratio. So I have 2x is equal to the 6 we were given, and I need to solve for x. To solve for x, we need to divide by 2, so we get x equals 3. Now remember, all of the green x's are 3, so if we put those back in to the other remaining sides, that means this side over here is 3, and this gives us a 3 square root 3. So we need to label the sides st. St is our 3, and the rt is going to be 3 square root 3. On number 2, the longest leg, they said, is 5 square root 3. So remember, the leg is not the hypotenuse, and the longest leg would be across from the 60, because it's a leg, not the hypotenuse. So you have to remember it's a leg. And we need to find the lengths of our other sides. So we need to label the sides again with a ratio. So across from the 30 is my x, across from the 60 is my x square root 3, across from my 90 is the 2x. Set your side length equal to the ratio. So let's write that equation. So x square root 3 is equal to 5 square root 3. And I want you right now to go through and solve for x. You should have divided by the square root of 3 on both sides. So you get x equals 5. Now to find the side lengths of the missing ones, we need to put that in for any of our green x's. And I want you to tell me what is the hypotenuse going to be and what is your leg going to be. So your hypotenuse, and I want you to fill in what your leg will be. The hypotenuse goes with my 2x, so that'd be 2 times 5, so we would get a 10 for the hypotenuse. The leg is just the x, so that would just be a 5. So the next one, we have the side length is given as 5 square root 3, and I just went over that in red so it stands out a little bit more. We need to, notice this is the smallest side, so that goes with our x. The medium side is our x square root 3 across from the 60, and our longest side is our 2x, or our hypotenuse. Set your side you are given equal to the ratio portion that is there. So we would have x equals the 5 square root 3. I don't have to solve for x because it's already given. So I can take that now, we can put that into our different sides over there. So that means we would have 2 times the 5 square root 3, which all we can do is multiply the first 2, so that'd be 10 square root 3. And if we multiply 5 square root 3 times the 3 that was already there, we get a 5 times the square root of 9, which becomes 5 times 3, which would be a 15. So DE is our hypotenuse, and we got a 10 square root 3, and DF is the longest leg, and we get a 15. And number 4, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me what is the side length going to be if the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 30 meters. Since it is equilateral, we know that all 3 sides will be congruent to each other. So 30 divided by 3 congruent sides gives us a 10. That tells us that all 3 sides will be 10. If we want to find the altitude, remember the altitude is really the height of your triangle. And if we leave it the way it is, we go straight down, the height is what we need to find. If it's equilateral, remember that all sides will be congruent, but we also know that all 3 angles need to be congruent as well. So 180 divided by 3 congruent angles gives us a 60. So we know that all 3 angles to begin with will be a 60. This top one, though, because it is split in half, would give us a 30 degrees. So we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. We need to find the altitude, so the height of the triangle, but before we do that, we need to look at just one of the triangles. And we need to put our ratio numbers in there. So this is our x, our height would be our x square root 3, and our 2x. The side we know for sure is our 10, so I can set my 2x equal to the 10 that was there, and remember we need to solve for x. So let's divide by 2. So all of my green x's will be a 5. So if I put those back in to both of those corresponding sides, I would get a 5 for down here on the bottom, and we would get a 5 square root 3 for the height. Since we're looking for the altitude, we want the 5 square root 3, and this would be in meters. On number 5, they have given us the side length, and we need to find the other sides, plus we need to find the perimeter. So we need to practice adding some radicals together. And remember, the first thing you want to do is label all your sides, which would give us our x square root 3, and our 2x. Remember, we find those across from the 30 and the 60 degrees, and then our hypotenuse. We need to set our side they gave us equal to the ratio. So that would give us x square root 3 equals our 9. We need to solve for x, so we need to divide by the square root of 3. Now this is where, remember, you cannot leave the square root of 3 on the bottom, so we need to multiply it by the square root of 3 on top and bottom, is how we rationalize our denominator. The 9 and the 3 cannot be multiplied, so we keep them separate, but the bottom can, so that would give us a 9. But then the square root of 9 gives us just a plain 3 on the bottom, so we'd have 9 square root 3 over a regular 3. And for the last step, we need to simplify that, so you would get just a 3 and then a square root of 3. Since all of our green x's will equal 3 square root 3, we need to put those in. For the different sides, we still need to find. So our 2x, we need to multiply our 2 by that 3 square root 3. We can only multiply the first 2 numbers together, so that would give us a 6 square root 3 for the hypotenuse. And that is our leg, so not our leg, but LK. So 6 square root 3 is our hypotenuse side. The JK side is just the x, so that would just be a plain 3 square root 3. But next, for perimeter, we need to add up all 3 sides together. So that means our 9 plus our 6 square root 3 plus our 3 square root 3. Now remember, if the radicand, so the number underneath the radical, is the same, we can add these 2 coefficients together in front. So that would give us a 9 square root 3. This 9 has nothing with it, no radical, so it's just going to stay a 9 out in front. So it would be a 9 plus the 9 square root 3 would be our perimeter answer. Remember, if you have any questions for your teacher, fill this part out right here and bring that back to class with you.